NBC had a studio and offices in the merchandise mart before this building opened. And it's the prettiest building on the mall. Because when you look at it, in the front especially, look at the limestone and the elements of verticality like setbacks and the dark windows. What style does it remind you of? Art Deco. Yes, but it's a tricky building. It's not actually Art Deco. It takes elements of Art Deco, mixes it with modern materials, and equals Eco Deco. Eco Deco is also fun to say. Eco Deco. But you can tell from the side that it's not actually Art Deco. It looks very cathedral-esque from the side. The architect was borrowing from two different styles. One that's elements of Art Deco. The other one was more Eurocentric designs like the Tribune Tower. This architect was Adrian Smith. Chicago's Adrian, who designed the Trump Tower and the Burj Khalifa in Chicago. Oh, Adrian, very sneaky Adrian. It was completed at the end of the 1980s. And we come back to on the right-hand side, Aqua Tower with its wavy balconies. Designed, of course, by the only female architect on our tour, Jeannie Gang. Jeannie, one day, it's a little journey. It's a very friendly city. People always like to wait. Aqua Tower's balconies were actually inspired by limestone. So limestone, there's a lot of limestone outcroppings that are common to this area. It's a little more geology fun with Jeannie. But also, think of all the buildings we talked about that have limestone on the outside. Every Art Deco building. That came from Indiana, so it's nearby, connecting to the buildings within Chicago and the geology, the environment around Chicago. Love that. Oh, Jeannie, she's so clever. Now on the right-hand side, we have the St. Regis Chicago again, another Jeannie creation. Oh, her architecture firm is called Studio Gang, G-A-N-G. And look at the tallest tower. Floor 83 and 84 appear to be unfinished. Anyways, that is a blow-through floor. It's one of the ways they minimize sway in this building. It's mostly empty. There's an elevator shaft, and there's two big tanks of water in there, and that's pretty much it. The wind will blow through the mostly empty space and relieve pressure on the windy side of the building. Clever, clever. So they actually use three methods to minimize sway in this building because the towers are so skinny. The second method, I mentioned, you might have caught it, there are tanks of water in the blow-through floor. They use slosh dampers. 2 in the blow-through floor, they have 4 more higher up, 6 in total. And last one, bundled tubes. Like the Sears Willis Tower, except they're not around each other. They're actually in a line, kind of stabilizing the base against the strongest winds in Chicago, which come east-west. So they're on that axis. This building is so new, they still have maintenance cables attached. They're still checking for the windows. Sealed. There are not a lot of built lights on in that building yet because not everyone has moved in. So more spots for you to stay. Just staying. Oh, nice little summer home in Chicago. Oh, it's such a clever building. All 4 of those structures, the 3 tall towers and the short squat one, they all have great roofs. It's a very high-tech building. So here we are on the Chicago River. Yes, this is its natural color, this turquoise green. It comes from the clay silt bottom and the lake water that has an algae that makes it green. And a lot has changed about this river. It has been widened over time, deepened, straightened. Sections have been added to it, and it's flowing backwards. The only river in the world that flows backwards. You see, for most of its existence, the north branch and the south branch met the main branch at Wolf Point, and then all that water flowed toward Lake Michigan, where it emptied. But Chicago began as a settlement, and then a town, and then a city, and it just kept growing. And the entire time, they were using this river as their sewer and dump. So sewage went into it, industrial waste, meat carcasses, meat industry. It was disgusting, toxic. All that toxic waste was flowing toward Lake Michigan. And the bigger the city got, the more waste there was. By the end of the 1800s, there were over 1 million people living in the city. It was not getting any smaller. There's lots of cholera and dysentery and diphtheria because guess where Chicago was getting its drinking water? Lake Michigan. Yes, they had to do something. It was a public health crisis. So in a very American fashion, they decided it would be cheaper to not change their behavior, but instead just change the course of the river and have it float backwards and take all that toxic waste away from Chicago. So that's what they did. Something that had never been done before. They started digging. It took 8 years. dig a canal 28 miles long. They dynamited to create a canal that would connect the South Branch of the Chicago River to the Mississippi River system. When they were done, they released the Chicago River into the canal, and it followed that angle down all the way toward the Mississippi, taking that toxic waste with it all the way to the Mississippi and St. Louis. And oh, they were mad. Oh, they were so mad. There was a lawsuit and everything. And if you're from St. Louis, I apologize. I mean, I wasn't alive then, but still, it was mean, sneaky, and gross. It was very gross. That happened in 1900. Our water still flows in that direction today toward the Mississippi. But now we have the EPA and filtration systems and water treatment plants. So it's no longer toxic, just polluted like every other river in the world. But getting better every day. This is our last chance for skyline photos. Last chance for the restroom as well. Before we dock, once we dock, the restrooms are closed. So if you needed to close out your tab, now's a good time to do that as well. The last building will be the building in front of us. The fidget spinner flask-shaped building in front of us is Lake Point Tower, finished in the end of the 1960s. That's why it had that glass and metal look to it. It has this look of modernism, but no right angles. Designed by two students of Mies van der Rohe. So if he had been around when they finished it, he would have been so mad. He actually died in 1969, just right around when we were finishing this building. But on top, that little circle, that's a restaurant for women. So if you want to open a restaurant in Chicago, I've got a spot for you right there. They're also considering making it into a penthouse, so option number 2. Now, this building inspired Adrian Smith. He's from Chicago. He thought about it when he was designing the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. It has a 3-winged, 3-lobed shape to it, like a fidget spinner. And he designed the Burj Khalifa to have the same shape, which is pretty cool. Influencing architecture around the world 50 years after the completion of Chicago 41. We are close enough to the dock now that I need everyone to find a seat. Please sit down. Please stay seated until the captain tells you it's safe to stand. So the dock. I don't want you to see. Check the seats around you. Make sure you have your belongings, things you want to see again, bags, bottles, children. And if you have trash, you can feed the hungry trash cans on your way off the boat. If you have questions, I will be the first person to go to the top of the ramp. Happy to answer questions. If you want more information about something, if you have feedback for me, I'm happy to receive it at the top. And don't forget your photos, a little reminder of our time together, and a physical photo in a digital world is a delight. When we began our journey at the Museum of Chicago Architecture, our goal was to see how buildings connect to each other, to history, to their environment, and to you. So I hope you feel more connected to the city now and have discovered new styles of architecture and stories that inspire you. Take that sense of curiosity with you wherever you go next. Ask how and why. Get curious. If everything is interconnected, as we know, that means that every person in this complex has changed the city in a way that is really good. And if that's true, that includes you. So thank you for having me. I've been Krista. You've been a delight. On behalf of everyone